What's good, YouTube? Anthony Lyons of AL Designs back at it again in the lab. I am working on the A-pillars on Cotys Truck. Also still working on the bezel. Got a lot of sanding to do, get that all primed. I think I'll get that all prepped and ready for primer at the same time I get this ready for primer, so I could do it at the same time. It is raining as usual in good old Washington. Not too bad, it's not too cold, but it is rainy. So I have got the back seat out of Cotys Truck to get the amp rack ready to go. He's gonna have an amplifier, 5-channel. Got the 5-channel diamond audio amplifier going in to run his two-way active setup, as well as a DSR1 sound processor, the DSP. Put that in there. So we're gonna get plugged away on that. So you want to stay tuned. This is probably a long one. Don't mind the mess. I'm in the process of getting things all cleared out. I got my new shed, so I'm sticking things back in there and get ready for this garage to be all redone next year. As of right now, from the front of my garage to the back is 24 feet. We're gonna knock this wall out, add another 24 feet, and raise the roof up to 10 feet. So stay tuned for all that next year. Good old 2023 coming around the corner. But yeah, don't mind the mess. I gotta get all this stuff gathered up and situated and make this thing look nice. But anyway, so stay tuned for pictures, videos of this might be a long one. I'll do a bunch of stuff. My daughter's got some more soccer ahead, so maybe we'll get some footage of her. She's kicking ass and taking names. She's doing really well here in Washington. So yeah, just kick back, relax, and enjoy AL Designs. Alright, y'all, so working on the A-pillars for Cotys Truck. He has the Bose tweeters that are in the factory area. You can see this thing here comes out. That's the shape. So my goal is to get these cups on each side. Oops. Get these cups in there. The problem is, as you can see, there's these little holes in here. We got to fill all that in. So my plan, I got some scrap acrylic here. I'm gonna try to capture this shape into the acrylic, but make it a little larger, so that way I can drill a hole, place this in, and then what will happen is I'll grab some of this spray that I got pretty close to it, and I'll scuff this up, sand it down, and get it primered and painted, and then we'll just have a little insert on each pillar for his tweeters. It's in a somewhat factory location there, so watch how I progress this. Stay tuned. Okay, y'all, this is where I'm at with the tweeter inserts. I have this nice unit from Mobile Solutions, little safety shield here. It's called the Animal. This thing is pretty badass. It saves your fingers. These things are getting tinier and tinier when you're dealing with tweeters. So I cut out some MDF pieces. This one's 3/4 inch so that it's enough room to cut this. I have a bearing here that's gonna ride on this here, and then the Animal will sit on top, so that way my fingers stay away from this bad boy. This bit is actually from Mobile Solutions as well. Actually, my whole entire router table, the lifts and everything are from Mobile Solutions, but that bit is actually specifically made for cutting plastic or acrylic. So I glued these on so that it does not come off. Put some tape on there so I can, just remove the tape later, but I'll end up flipping this over, glue this to here, and then this will keep my fingers from getting dismantled. Ashy. But anyway, so stay tuned for the final cutouts for these. All right, I'll be back. All right, so I still got all my fingers thanks to that shield. Once again, it's called the Animal by Mobile Solutions. If you ever do any router work, I would suggest you should buy one of these. Spend the money, save your fingers, save your trips from the ER, and get you one of these. Anyway, so I got my two pieces cut. They're scuffed up. Looks like when you place this on here, there's a little bit of a gap, so it's probably got to be form fitted. I'm gonna heat this up, get it to fit a little bit better, and then we'll get it painted. Probably put a little texture spray on there and make it look like plastic. Get them painted up, and they'll be ready to go. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, this is where I'm at on these tweeters. As I said before, they had somewhat of a gap on here because there's a curve to the A-pillar. So I went ahead and took some heat, put some heat to them, and get them to kind of press and bend in that curve. And I got it pretty good. And then once, let that cool off, I'll get it primered, painted, and then this will mount through there. You see the threads, it'll have a little backing that goes underneath, so then we'll just screw it down from that way. So came out pretty good. We'll get these all wrapped up and move on to the next stuff. So stay tuned. Again, this one might be a long one, so get some popcorn and get ready for a lot of car audio between the Cotys Silverado and the good old Prowler. We'll get these knocked out in the next few days so we can move on to some more cool stuff from AL Design. So stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Alright guys, this is where I'm at. The Prowler bezel's all primered up. I'll scuff it down or sand it down a little bit, see where all my high and low spots are, fill in what I need to fill, but that's the first about 2 coats of primer on there for the bezel. As for the tweeter inserts, I got those texture sprayed. Got this from CM Texture Coating. This stuff is pretty awesome. Gives it a little texture, make it look like plastic. So I shot that, let that dry. Those should be done here soon. Again, I'm gonna paint it with the that brown or matching color to the A-pillar. So while these are drying, I'm gonna start prepping for the amp racks. I got 2 amp racks to build, one for the Silverado, one for the Prowler. Just 2 small amplifiers going in, so it shouldn't be too bad, but when we get that, I'm gonna start getting that all prepped while this is drying, so stay tuned. Alright y'all, this is how I set up for the amp racks for most of my installs. We got the 5-channel going in Cotys Truck along with the DSP, the Pro Digital Sound Processor. As you can see, I cut out some 1/4-inch MDF. This is just for the mock-up. I will eventually copy this using the router. I'll copy it over to some 1/4-inch plastic. Plastic is not cheap, so it's best to use this cheap stuff first. That way I don't make any mistakes, and then just copy it to the plastic. So we've got the 6-channel. actual 6-channel amp going in the Prowler. So this is going to be the mount, the amp rack for that. Got a pretty cool idea coming up for that, you guys will see. And then this one's just a basic board that we'll mount. We'll bolt this down to the floor pan of the truck, of the Silverado. Bolt that down, and then we'll be able to screw these in, and it'll be solid. And we'll go from there. So stay tuned for more of the amp rack while we wait for the panels to dry. Alright, YouTube, tweeters are in. Came out real good. As you can see, just made a little acrylic insert piece so that it could fill in all the holes from the original Bose tweeter. Again, this is the Hex line of Diamond Audio 2-way. So you got your mid-bass driver down below, all sound deadened, sound treatment all good, and ABS plastic adapter, speaker adapter, all good to go for the door, and then your tweeter insert for the left and the right. Door's all done over here on the right as well. So continue on. We got the whole back seat out, and I'll show you how I do the little amp rack that's going on the bottom there. Once the amp rack is all in and all wired up, we'll put the seat back in and start on the subwoofer box and the storage tray. Cody wants some storage underneath, so we'll just have a subwoofer on the left, storage all down on the right. So stay tuned. This will just be about the amplifier rack and the tweeters. We'll do another video episode for the subwoofers, but let's get this amp rack going, and we'll also do a little more on the Prowler, so stay tuned. Alright, YouTube, so check it out. When doing this car audio stuff, sometimes you change your mind, you contemplate what would look good, what won't look good. My original idea, if you saw, I had amp mount or amp rack board, plastic panel that was going to go right around this area underneath the seat. But as I looked at it more, I decided I'm going to go ahead and sound deaden this whole back part here. I'm going to sound deaden all this so we get it even quieter. And then I think I'm just going to build a panel back here. Use some factory bolts, factory mounts here and here so we can bolt the amp rack down. Also, I ran into an issue where I want to protect the tweeters as much as possible. I'm using a DSP, but I would like to make sure that if anything happens on accident with that DSP, that my tweeters are protected. Now, Diamond Audio, don't know why, this is their crossover. For those who don't know what a crossover is, it makes sure that each speaker gets what it's supposed to get. There's tons of videos on what crossovers are, but this thing is humongous. But I'm going to use it, since I have it, in line with my tweeters to make sure they're protected and they don't get damaged in any way. So I'm going to make a board big enough to hold those two for the left and right, and then also the DSP and the amplifier. So we'll have it all back here, nice and pretty. So we'll cut this video short, but please stay tuned for the next episode where I'll have all this finished. The amp rack will be finished here. The amp rack will be finished in the Prowler. And also, you'll see my footage of my drone of Kitsap Lake, my first flight with my drone on this episode. So let me know how you guys like that. So click like, share, subscribe. We're coming down to the nitty gritty on both these vehicles, and should have them done here in the next few days. So stay tuned, and more to come from Anthony Lyons of AL Designs.